Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seahawk Recap Show, episode 4, with your host, Ryan Koki. So, today is the final week that the NFL teams have to prepare for the regular season week 1. Almost there. We're almost there, football fans. So, before we get started with this episode, though, I have to discuss a few things. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future uploads, and please share with your friends, whether you're a Seahawks fan or not. It would just really help to get more traffic to the channel and grow this little community that we have here. But also, another thing I need to talk about is the Seahawk 53-man roster video. It is late. I know that. I wanted to get a video up for you guys on the 29th of August. However, with the amount of movement that's happened over the past couple of days, I wanted to get everything right for you guys. I wanted to get as close as I could to the roster so that it wouldn't be out of the video wouldn't be out of date by the regular season. So that video will be recorded on September 3rd and hopefully be out by September 4th for you guys. So stay tuned for that. But without any further ado, let us get into the news of the week, episode number 4, final preparations. And here we go. Let's talk about the Trey Lance trade to the Cowboys. If you watched episode 3 of News of the Week, you'll understand that in that video, I did do a segment talking about Trey Lance and 49ers and him losing the backup QB position to Sam Darnold. And this trade, literally, as soon as I recorded and as soon as I had edited the video and everything, and I was all ready to publish and everything, this trade broke. And so I was a little unhappy with that, but I decided that, okay, well, I don't want to re record the entire video again. So I guess this week I'll be talking about it. So let's talk about the Trey Lance trade, shall we? On August 25th, Trey Lance was traded to the Cowboys for a 4th round pick. This is via Adam Schefter. My thoughts. Honestly, I think this trade is great for both parties involved. On the Cowboys side of things, they get a younger quarterback for next to nothing. It's just a 4th round pick. And he can sit behind Dak Prescott, who can mentor Lance. And if Lance takes the next step in his development, he could potentially be a future starter or a future replacement for Dak Prescott if they decide to go that route, anyways. On the other hand, you have the 49ers. To be honest, Trey Lance was their 3rd string QB. I saw his time with the 49ers was just ending. After you lose the starting job, or after you lose the starting job to Brock Purdy, and then you lose the backup job to Sam Darnold, I honestly think you're not on the same page with the organization. And considering that you were a 3rd overall pick, that's not good for you. And I'm glad he was traded out. So to be honest, the GM though of the 49ers, John Lynch, he did an amazing job of getting rid of a guy who they took a big swing on and missed. Honestly, for Trey Lance, I think the injuries weren't his fault. No one could have predicted him getting injured. You know, only playing 8 games in the NFL. It was a masterclass by John Lynch trying to get rid of that kind of pitch and even getting a 4th round pick out of it. Don't get me wrong, giving up 3 firsts for a guy that you thought was going to be your next franchise QB and then 2 years later having to trade him for a 4th isn't great. It's still not great. I'm not giving John Lynch and the 49ers any slack for the trade that they made. I'm giving them props for getting rid of the so-called issue or problem that they had with Trey Lance, and even getting a fourth out of it. But now that the Trey Lance trade is done and that saga is behind us, I look forward to seeing what Lance's future holds with the Cowboys. Apparently, when he was traded to the Cowboys, when he made that trade request on Wednesday, when he was traded to the Cowboys, he had a big smile on his face. So he looks to be happy. Both teams get what they want for the player. Both teams are happy. Both players and teams are happy. So I'm glad this all worked out, and I can't wait to see if Trey Lance can rebuild his career with the Cowboys. And now let's talk about something that I'm really excited about. Josh Jacobs ending his holdout. Per Ian Rappaport and Tom Pellizzaro, star running back Josh Jacobs has agreed to terms on an upgraded 1-year deal worth up to $12 million. My thoughts. Honestly, this deal is just a patch job for the Raiders. I believe that Josh Jacobs will either be dealt at the trade deadline or be kept by the Raiders for this season. And then I would hope he would leave in free agency, never to return again, and you know get paid by another franchise that values him a little more. But more than likely, he'll just get franchise tagged. I'm glad that Josh Jacobs got his $12 million, but I'm appalled at the term. However, as I mentioned in News of the Week episode 2, in the segment The Running Back Problem, if you haven't seen episode 2 of the Running Back Dark Ages, I would highly recommend going to that episode and watching it in its entirety, because it explains what I think of the NFL, what I think of what I call the running back problem, in terms of how the league shifted from a running back centric type of scheme to now what it is now, which is pass heavy and dual threat quarterbacks. But if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. I just think it's entertaining, honestly, and it would really help you with this conversation. So, as I mentioned in that episode, I explained that these are the types of deals that we will be seeing for the foreseeable future at the running back position. Again, I think you're not going to see big deals after what happened with Ezekiel Elliott, after what happened with the Dalvin Cook contract. I don't believe you'll see big contracts anymore being handed out to running backs. It really sucks that star running back Josh Jacobs and any other star running back out there like Saquon Barkley, you name it, will not be able to secure the term that they want from any team in the NFL in its current state. Again, from a business perspective, I get it. You don't want to commit to something that is high risk. And unfortunately, running backs, due to the nature of the position, due to how much work they've been put through, due to all the things that make a running back, they're high risk guys. Their careers aren't as long. Their longevity just isn't as long there. But on the bright side, though, Josh Jacobs can now get back to what he is good at, which is football. If he puts up another terrific season like he did last year, and I already went through all his stats in episode 2, so go back and watch that if you want his stats. But he was the best running back in the league last year, hands down. Just from stats perspective, from what he did on the field, just the best running back. I hope he gets paid, man. I hope after the season he gets what he's worth. I hope he gets paid. I hope he gets the term he wants, because, again, if not by the Raiders, I hope he gets paid by another franchise, because he is a star running back in this league. Debate me all you want, but he is a star running back in this league, and I believe should be fairly compensated for his work. I think anybody in the sports realm, whether that's American football or any other sport for that matter, I think when you do a really terrific job, you should be compensated. You should be compensated for your work. for a person that's not injury prone, for a person that doesn't have red flags coming out of the wazoo, I think you should be fairly compensated for your work. But let's talk about the TJ Hockenson extension. Oh boy, when I saw this contract and when I saw this happen for TJ Hockenson, I was like, oh, this could either be really good or really bad. But let's get into it. So, 2019 was when he was drafted. He played 12 games, had 32 receptions, had 367 yards, 11.5 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns. His ELC was $19.8 million for 4 years. He signed that in 2019 to 2023. In 2020, he played 16 games, had 67 receptions, 723 yards, averaged 10.8 yards per reception, had 6 touchdowns. In 2021, he had 12 games played, 61 receptions, 583 yards, averaged 9.6 yards per reception, and had 4 touchdowns. And 2022 is where he got traded from the Lions to the Vikings. And seeing the contract, I know why the Lions did it. I now finally understand why the Lions traded TJ Hockenson. Do I think they shouldn't have? Yes. But do I understand why they did it? I do. So for the Lions in 2022, he played 7 games, had 26 receptions for 395 yards, averaged 15.2 yards per reception, had 3 touchdowns. He then got traded to the Vikings, played the rest of his games there, played 10 games, had 60 receptions, 519 yards, averaged 8.6 yards per catch, and had 3 touchdowns. Before we get to the contract extension, let's go to the trade details. The Lions received a 2023 second round pick, number 55 overall, which they used to draft wide receiver Rashee Rice, and a 2024 third round pick. The Vikings obviously received tight end TJ Hockenson, a 2023 fourth round pick, 119 overall, which they used to select safety Chamari Connor. And they received also a 2024 fourth round pick. Now, that's a decent haul for a guy that, if that's all you could get out of him, that's all you could get out of him. I would have pushed for maybe a first, but again, the guy is 26, so I kind of get it. He's kind of going into his prime, kind of interesting, but we'll see how that plays out. But the contract, and this is why the Lions got rid of him in the first place, $68.5 million for 4 years. The average annual salary is 17.125 million, and he has 42.5 million of that contract guaranteed. These are the highest for a tight end in NFL history. Just think about that for a second. That means TJ Hockenson is being paid more per year than Travis Kelce, who is arguably the best tight end in the league. He's being paid more than George Kittle. He is being paid more than Mark Andrews and more than Darren Waller. Do I think TJ Hockenson deserves this kind of a contract? I don't know. I honestly, as a GM, wouldn't have given him that. I don't know what I would have given him for a contract. And that's exactly why I'm not a GM, because I don't know what I would have done. But I'm happy nonetheless that TJ Hockenson got his bag, so to speak. I'm glad he got his money. And I'm glad he got the term he wanted. If only they could do that for running backs, that'd be great. But I digress on that topic before I get really annoyed and really heated still. Now, the next thing on the list, let's talk about Chris Jones, the DT for the Kansas City Chiefs. Arguably the best DT in the league, and he's being paid like it. He's the highest paid DT in the NFL right now, but his holdout's still ongoing. So the Chiefs officially place D tackle Chris Jones on the reserve / did not report list. Holdout goes on with no current end in sight. This is via Adam Schefter. That scares me. Holdout still goes on with no current end in sight. That means that negotiations have kind of slowed down, and it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to either stay a Chief or not. I hope he stays a Chief because I can't see him in any other uniform. Even as a Seahawks fan, I really can't see him in any other uniform. He's going into his 8th season. He was drafted by the Chiefs in 2016. He has never been without the Chiefs. The Chiefs have never been without him. And it has resulted in some big awards. So let's talk about it. 2 Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes and company. He has won 2 Super Bowls. He is a Super Bowl champion 2 times. He has had 4 Pro Bowls. He received the Professional Football Writers Association All AFC Team honors in 2018, 2019, 2022, and 2021. He received PSN's All NFL Team honors in 2020 and 2021. In 2022, he won the AFC Defensive Player of the Year award, and when he was drafted in 2016, he then got another award for the Professional Football Writers Association All Rookie Team. His career stats: he's had 107 games played. He's had 168 solo tackles, 75 assisted tackles, 65 sacks, 12 forced fumbles, 1 interception that was returned to the house for a touchdown. This man can do it all. And this is why he is he is the highest paid NFL D tackle. He is arguably the best D tackle. Let's talk about his ELC. So in 2016, he signed a $6.231 million deal for 4 years, 2016 to 2019. In 2020, though, he got a pay raise, moving him to $16.126 million for that 1 year. And then in 2020, because of his awards and because of what he did on the field, he was awarded a $80 million extension for another 4 years. Signed that in 2020 to 2024, which made him the highest paid DT in the league, like I said earlier. So the Chiefs still have some wiggle room here. They still have another contract for the 2023-2024 season, but with a holdout, he could just decide not to play until he gets a new contract. He wants a new contract. Per Adam Trecker, on August 30th, GM Brett Veach said, "We're certainly hoping of that," talking about the new contract. He wants a new contract. We're looking forward to the next Thursday and hope he's in the lineup and he's ready to go. Veach said communication between Jones and the Chiefs has picked up in recent days, though he wouldn't say whether he thought the sides were making progress towards a new contract. Honestly, I wonder what the Chiefs are thinking, because, man, you cannot let this guy walk. You just can't. If you cannot get a deal done, don't let him walk for nothing. If you let him walk for nothing, this will be one of the biggest stains on your organizational record forever. So, honestly, and I don't want to see him go from the Chiefs. Again, I cannot see him in another uniform. He is a Chief. He was born a Chief, and I hope he continues to be a Chief. Pay this man. Pay this man. Because your defense needs him. Your defense will surely need him because he is a big pass rush guy for you guys, and he's also a big run stopper. So you need to figure out a way to sign him. That's all I'll say. Because your defense is going to get off to kind of a slow start in the pass rush department without Chris Jones, I think. But for the final topic on today's show, let's talk about the PUP list and some IR talk. So, players affected. Quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. He's on the PUP list. He's recovering from a torn ACL from December 12th of 2022. So, what happened? The Cardinals did not activate quarterback Kyler Murray off the physically unable to perform list by Tuesday's 4 p.m. Eastern deadline, which means then he would be ineligible to be activated during the first 4 games of the season, per Adam Schefter. And the news just keeps getting worse for the Cardinals, doesn't it? Honestly, I feel really bad for Cardinals fans, but I'm a Seahawks fan. So I'm glad that at least one team is going through some anguish uh, in the NFC West that is not the Seahawks. But again, I hope Kyler Murray can get back because you guys need him. He's your franchise QB. And I honestly hope he doesn't rush it though. Torn ACLs are a very, very big injury, and I think they're definitely career ending. So I hope he doesn't rush it. I hope he gets better because I want to see him on the field. I don't mind Kyler Murray, personally, and that's my opinion. You can say what you will about him, but I should mind him. But let's talk about running back Jonathan Taylor, and you've heard his name a lot from me in episode 3 of News of the Week, and you'll hear his name again from me this week. So he's on the PUP list. He was not traded by August 31st on that deadline, and therefore was not activated in time for the start of the season. Colts to keep running back Jonathan Taylor on the physically unable to perform list. He will miss the first 4 games of the season. This is via Adam Rappaport and Tom Pellizzaro. And now let's talk about the IR. And surprisingly, these are both Dolphins players. Let's talk about running back Jeff Wilson Jr. He has a midsection injury and multiple finger injuries. So he has multiple finger issues. Dolphins placed him on IR, meaning he will miss the first 4 games of the season. This is per Adam Schefter. And this is much worse. The dark cornerback for the Miami Dolphins, Jalen Ramsey, is placed on IR, and this is a big one. Ramsey injured his knee in training camp back in July, and the Dolphins have now placed him on IR, and he is expected to be out at least until December. This is per Jordan Dejaney of CBS. And one thing I will say about Jalen Ramsey, the guy on the field is one of the best corners I have seen. Just watching football in general. When he's on the field. But he hasn't been healthy enough to stay on the field. So, with this most recent knee injury, I hope he doesn't rush it. I hope he takes his time because now he's starting to turn into an injury prone kind of guy. And I don't want to see that for Jalen Ramsey because I like watching him play. But that is it for News of the Week, episode 4, final preparations before the regular season. Who's excited for the regular season? Comment down below if you're ready to follow me through the 2023-2024 regular season. I know I'll be here, so I hope you guys will come along with me through this journey. This is Ryan Koke signing off for the Seahawks Recap Show. Go Hawks, go! And make sure to come back on Labor Day, September 4th, for the Seahawks 53-man roster breakdown. I will see you guys then.